Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're going to be answering a bunch of your questions. Plus, we got a SmackDown preview, the latest on the cleaner. Plus, Roman Reigns has retired. What is this, Wrestling News Now? Also, we're going to talk about this Wrestlemania. It's the show that's coming up, Larson. That's a lot of people very excited about. They're building the set right now, I think.
Yeah, it's got letters on it. It spells Wrestlemania.
Yeah, I was looking at the Twitter, and it said the T and the L were up. That was
I saw
yesterday.
It was
they actually got them all up.
Spelled Wrestlemania backwards, but it was there.
Oh wow! So they're trying out, for people who might see things backwards. Interesting. Anyways, let's talk about the matches at WrestleMania while discussing the possibility
of maybe a mystery match. Ooh, mystery.
Ooh. While discussing the possibility of WWE legends such as John Cena or Stone Cold Steve Austin getting involved in WrestleMania this year. Those other guys. Dave Meltzer reported that there's a mystery slot currently listed for WrestleMania, saying in this week's Wrestling Observer, while it is expected that John Cena, Hulk Hogan brother, Steve Austin, and The Undertaker will be in Philadelphia, there's been nothing on television to suggest anything they'd be involved with. By the way, I'm going to pause here really quick. I just love when people take like Dave Meltzer watching TV and just reporting what he sees.
I know.
It's great. Anyways.
As scoops, I know.
Yeah. He says, during the Rock versus Rhodes brawl outside, they did fight in front of a large production truck that had a photo of Cena and Austin on it that some figured was a tease. Pause again. WrestleVote said, ooh, right. They said that, hey, things are done on purpose. There's nothing, there's no accidents.
Nothing's done accidentally, yes.
Yeah. Those other guys continue. Time will tell, but we were told not to read into that regarding the main events. There is said to be a mystery slot, but whether that mystery is Cena or somebody else is not known. So if, and these days kind of a big if.
Steve, give me another mystery sound real quick. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Ghost match. If Dave Meltzer's mystery sources are to be believed this time.
Mystery match, yes.
The main events won't include anything involving Austin or Cena. Maybe
Undertaker, Hogan, etc., etc.
Right.
Legends, yes.
So he continues on with some speculation with 10 matches. That means we still have a few matches to be added. Right now, there are 3 to be added, with 13 as the current total, with 7 on one night, 6 on the other, the most recent plan. Because of that and the 7 p.m. start, the story is that every match will have ample time to be the best it can be, at least as it's laid out on paper.
Let's take a break here.
Yeah.
Mysteries. We like mysteries.
Love a good mystery.
We like trying to solve mysteries.
Yeah, right.
What's this mystery segment? What's this mystery spot? What's this mystery match? Let's get to the bottom of it.
So, boring answer is probably the most accurate one, but we don't like boring here at Going In.
No, most accurate. So assuming that Waller, in theory, lose tonight against Street Profits, it's going to be a Grayson Waller effect episode at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. You'll have the legends come out there. They'll all hit their finishers on Waller, in theory, and they'll all stand tall over these new talents that really need a little rub to move up the card. Instead, they're going to get completely obliterated by a bunch of finishers.
Now, it is possible that because 2 of those guys, Cena and Austin, Austin had a match brawl 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Cena has had a match as recently as a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's possible that it could turn into, if it's a match and not just, a talk show segment gone wrong for Theory and Waller, maybe they could do a Cena Austin tag team match. One of those weird impromptu things where like, hey, let's get a ref down here. And like Austin doesn't do shit except for a couple stunners. Cena hits a couple of, AAs or whatever. And they could claim that there's similar to The Rock versus Eric Rowan. If the literal definition of match is to be taken seriously here.
Yeah, I suppose that's possible. I know there's a lot of people that are hoping that Stone Cold makes his presence known.
Yeah, right.
During the main event of night 2 specifically to help Cody defeat the Bloodline.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before. That I understand that there is a wealth of backstory with Stone Cold and The Rock. I mean, they were each other's top rivals during the Attitude Era. That
Absolutely.
being said,
yeah,
it's 20 years ago.
Shit. Almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Their last match was 21 years ago.
21 years ago. So, yes, I understand people are aware of it and realize that there's history between the two of them. But I need some motivation why Stone Cold would even be in the building. Like he's going to drive all the way or fly all the way from his ranch in Nevada, even though Stone Cold's had no interaction that I think of with Cody on TV.
Yeah.
Like, what's his motivation to help him other than sticking it to The Rock, someone he hasn't been direct rival with for more than 20 years?
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I just need more of a motivation for the here and now.
Yeah, and the way Triple H books things, seems like he would go after something a bit meatier story-wise. Not meteor, not some object from space. That for that to happen. He seems to really like to bank on his own roster, the people who are there. That makes sense because you want that stuff because he's a long gamer. And, this story might play out over the next couple of years if you do Rock Roman next year, Rock Cody, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of like I think he continues. Yeah. So he continues a bit more in terms of what matches might be added. And you and I can give our own speculation. He says this: there is right now no women's tag team title match planned.
So 6 would be tag match, you'd think.
But there is something with Damage Control, which we had been speculating. Either they do a tag match or you drop Jade Cargill into this Bianca and Naomi team. And oh my gosh, that's
the case. Yeah.
That's a heck of a way to kick off Jade's career here in WWE. He continues, LWO versus Legado in some form could happen, whether a tag or 8-man, depending on the status of Angel and Berto. Bobby Lashley and Street Profits versus Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross would be possible if the Street Profits were to lose their tag match on SmackDown, since that's been building for a long time, and they've avoided that match on TV even when it was once announced. That feud doesn't have a lot going behind it, but if they want, it is a feud that they have been building for some time.
Yeah.
Lashley and his crew against Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't scream WrestleMania match to me, but to get them on the card, I think would be great.
Well, Meltzer in the newsletter also talks about, we saw Dom cost Rey's match against Santos
that's
Friday on
definitely
SmackDown.
there.
So if you want to get LWO versus Legado on the card, bring Dom into it as well. You have a feud there that's been going on a while that might not have the most heat behind it per se. You put Dom in the equation, that changes it a little bit.
Heat magnet.
Another thing Meltzer mentioned in the newsletter is that the 3 remaining matches, as he says here, are said to be from the SmackDown side. So we have 3 additional SmackDown matches, which would make sense if it's Damage Control, Kairi, Asuka, and Dakota Kai taking on Naomi, Bianca, and Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
If it's some sort of LWO Legado thing with Dom involved, that's primarily SmackDown. And then, of course, Lashley and the Street Profits against Final Testament. I mean, I guess those would make the most sense. Those
are the matches. They make sense. That's what they've been building on TV, so that totally makes sense. And plus, I like that you get pretty much everybody that's active on the roster. I especially like that they wouldn't be doing, if what we're saying is true, Dom versus Ray 2. You push that a year, and you get a bunch more people on the card in what would be a really killer match, because we're talking Dom, Santos, and then the 2 dudes, Angel and Berto. And then you got on the other side of that, I guess, Ray Carlito?
Yeah. And then
the two
Joaquin
LWO
Wilde and
guys.
Cruz del Toro. Yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be great getting them all on the WrestleMania card.
It would be. It really would be.
And then on SmackDown, I guess you could do the SmackDown Andre the Giant Battle Royal. You get guys like Ivar, Bronson Reed, I guess probably Andrade at that point.
Yeah.
Andrade could get involved somehow in the
it's entirely possible. Yeah.
Legato match right there because he's been chatting up Dom.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Going back to the idea of Stone Cold getting involved in the Rocks. Sorry, in Cody versus Roman. I was thinking about that this morning, and I guess the concern would be that it could end up being something along the lines of Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania 31, where from a nostalgia standpoint, it was wonderful. You had the NWO fighting DX, but if you think about it, it really didn't make much sense for the NWO to come out and help Sting.
I've always disagreed with you on that, and I do see your point. I do see your point as it relates to the main event, and I agree with that.
Wolfpack, then yes, that would make sense.
I know. How cool would that have been? It would have made more sense, but Wolfpack, boy, could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
I know, but that wasn't like the popular thing. It was popular, but the NWO, I think it makes perfect sense because at that point it broke down into a meta TNT versus USA type situation where, the entire faction of NWO and Sting, once rivals, now together on the same page, battling, in a microcosm of the Monday Night War. You got, DX and Triple H.
That's what I'm talking about from a nostalgia standpoint. It's like, oh, this is great. This is nothing I ever thought we'd see happen. And you could try to piece it all together in that respect, saying, oh, this is just WCW versus WWE. It's the Monday Night Wars. I get it, but there's no rationale where Sting be like, yes, Hogan, I want your help.
I just said the rationale. That was the rationale.
No,
absolutely.
This lame rationale.
No, it's great
Hogan and Sting were feuding for a whole year.
They were like in TNA together. I'm sure there were buddies there.
No, that's not WWE canon. No one pays attention to that.
Oh, okay, my bad. But yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm a little bit. I think I'm a little bit more. Bullish on. I think that's a good one. Bullish, like yay, thumbs up, or is bearish?
Yeah, I think so.
Yay?
Bearish
is bad.
I think
you don't want a bear. You don't really
Could
want
be
to
the other way around. I don't know.
The bottom line was Stone Cold. Yes, I do absolutely think they would. You got to have at least Cody get on his phone and say, call 316 Gimmick Street, something like that.
Yeah.
And yes, the bottom line is, I don't think Triple H would go that route without setting it up. But even if he did go that route without setting it up, the pop would be massive.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're doing it for the pop. Yeah, I know.
And I would pop. I would lose my mind.
Steve would jump out of his chair, literally.
Oh, I would. It'd be crazy. I'd be like, and understanding, because I appreciate the absurdity in pro wrestling, but I also appreciate probably a little bit more logical storytelling. And so, yeah. But I don't know. I did. All sorts of people can be in our comments. Yeah, there's a story there. They were rivals 30 years ago. Okay, that's not a story. It's like when people, tell. I saw this from those other guys on Twitter, Dave Meltzer. Somebody was like, okay, what are the stories being told on Dynamite? And he just starts listing matches.
I know.
I'm like, okay.
I saw that. Matches
happen during the course of stories.
Yeah.
But matches can also happen in a vacuum, absent of stories.
Yes.
Thought it was kind of funny, but that's just the way he thinks. Anyways, so yeah, that's good stuff.
Let's talk about Roman Reigns retiring, Steve.
Oh, a new report claims Roman Reigns has retired from WWE.
Well, if we go back to 2020, that might have been an accurate headline. So in a recent interview with Uproxx, Paul Heyman revealed that Roman Reigns considered himself retired after stepping away from WWE in the lead up to WrestleMania 36. Of course, this was after COVID hit, pandemic, lockdown, all that kind of stuff. PC WrestleMania. This is what Heyman said in this interview with Uproxx. Quote, he considered himself retired. He wasn't coming back. I was executive director of Monday Night Raw, and Roman was assigned to SmackDown. But every week I heard all the SmackDown writers and producers and personnel saying, God, I just wish Roman would come back. And I would ask, has anybody talked to him? Yeah, he says he's retired. He's not coming back. No way. Thanks a lot. Done. Finished. Goodbye. So the fact that he came back for this run, for what we have accomplished, is nothing short of a miracle, because as far as he was concerned, he was out.
And just like in The Godfather 3, they pulled him back in. Yeah, this is pretty shocking considering like I think the last time we would have seen him would have involved like dog food. I think he did stuff after that.
Yeah,
But,
he was built up for a match against Goldberg at
yeah, he's
WrestleMania
supposed
36.
to. That was nuts. That was
know.
crazy. Roman versus Goldberg was on the agenda, and then it was like, no, that's not happening. What?
And then Braun faced him.
And then Braun faced him instead. Didn't Braun win that match?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he won the Universal title, and the Fiend won it off him. Yeah, that was crazy. And also crazy to think that he was retired. He was done. He was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And the epic run that we've had since then. It's been absolutely crazy. What happened? What would have happened if he would have stayed retired? What do you think the A story would talk about a crazy what if? If Roman had actually retired, what would be the A story right now?
Gosh. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, that's such a fundamental shift and change in the creative direction of WWE for the last 3+ years.
It's huge. It's massive.
That it's hard to wrap one's head around how that would change everything.
My guess.
The Usos would still be a tag team, probably. Solo might still be in NXT.
Yeah, maybe. My guess is they probably would have tried. I mean, who else could have been like the big bad? Maybe they would have tried Rollins again. Try Rollins in the very top spot.
Yeah.
And program everything around him. But I don't know. That's just, there's so much good stuff with Roman Reigns over the past.
I know.
4 years, coming up on 4 years. The
coming
tribal
up on 4 years. I know.
That's crazy.
I know. Be 4 years this summer.
That story going 4 years, my good, and maybe even another 6. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. It's something else. It's something else what they managed to accomplish. And seemingly from a creative standpoint, the dog food stuff with Baron, Roman had enough from that standpoint. And then when COVID hit, he was what? How long had he come back from his recurrence of leukemia? It wasn't terribly.
Dude, I don't even
long.
know. Yeah, it wasn't that long.
And stepping away, and for him to come back and completely reinvent himself.
Yeah.
It's something else.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. I remember back then. I still remember like the shock of like the camera panning over and we seen Paul Heyman.
Oh, I know, sitting next to him.
That was like the possibilities really did seem endless, and the fact that they've maximized the potential of that is under for a very long time. Vince McMahon, mind you.
Yeah.
Let's do a tribal dog food match.
Roman came back after his leukemia went into remission February 2019, so he was back for roughly a year.
Okay, he was back for a year then. Okay, and they had still done like they got him, but they almost lost him. Because who knows what the health complications of that would be. And then they get him back and they do dog food.
Yeah, I know. That was in November of 2019. He started the feud with Baron.
Jeez. Boy, that was awful.
Well, that actually went all the way into early 2020.
Oh, okay. And then they went straight from dog food into a Goldberg feud.
Because it says here, this is on Wikipedia, Super Showdown February 27th, Reigns defeated Corbin in a steel cage match and their feud, and then right after that challenged Goldberg.
They did Corbin Reigns at a Super Showdown.
Yeah.
They're like, we're paying you all sorts of money, WWE, to come to. Was that Super Showdown in Australia? Or was that in the Saudi Arabia?
That was.
Remember, I think they did a Super Showdown.
That was a Saudi show.
That was a Saudi show.
That was the one that was Goldberg and Fiend.
Oh my boy, that might be. Woo boy, what a stinker that is.
Yeah, what else was on that card?
A terrible card.
Yeah,
at
Goldberg,
the top,
Fiend.
anyways. What else is on it?
Roman, Corbin.
Yeah.
Brock and Ricochet.
Oh, wasn't that? How long was that match? Are you on Wikipedia?
A minute and a half. Yeah, it's a minute and a half.
That lasted a minute and a half. I thought that was like a Kofi length match. That was just Brock throwing him around.
Oh, the Undertaker. Remember they had that trophy. They had like the gauntlet match that the Undertaker came out at the very end and won. Wow.
Oh my God. Can we please do a Friendo? We got to start doing some video essays. Worst card of all time.
I mean, it doesn't look great.
That's horrible. That's awful.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we continue on with our next story, quick reminder, if you guys like bonus episodes, today we are filming, and I'll probably end up dropping it either tomorrow or Monday, a new Friendo cast where we're going to talk about no wrestling. No wrestling allowed on the Friendo cast, but if you want to hear Stephen Larson wax about all sorts of other topics, life, pop culture, etc., we do it every single week on Friendo cast. It's exclusive to our Friendo Club setup members. That's right. There's two ways to get the Friendo Club setup. Number one, click join at youtube.com/Stephen Larson, or number two, go to patreon.com/Stephen Larson and click on the Friendo Club setup. Either way, it's $5 a month. It's a huge, awesome way to support Going in Raw, Stephen Larson, Bill Friendo, of course. And yeah, you get access to the bonus episodes. You get access to the question threads that we read in all of our episodes. Also, you get access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. That's right. You could be the new Big Blue Predictions champion at WrestleMania. Who wouldn't want
Where's the hat, Steve?
the first WrestleMania moment in Big Blue history? Who's going to be the first WrestleMania winner? And if you get it, you get this hat. This one's going to Muted Mayday,
nice.
but we might do like a variation on this one. It'll say Big Blue, but ittle be in green instead.
It'll be like the WrestleMania / Philadelphia Eagles green.
Right, exactly. So if you want access to the WrestleMania Predictions Challenge, then be sure to get the Friendo Club set up. Of course, two ways to do it: patreon.com/Stephen Larson, or clicking join right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Also, if you do us a solid, hit that thumbs up here on the YouTube. It really does go a long way towards helping Going in Raw. Also, if you're listening to this in the audio realm, leave us a rating, review, or a comment. We'd prefer 5 stars, but be honest. Be honest. We're all good with honesty. And then, of course, we're always trying to get more subscribers here on YouTube. That's a free and easy way to help support Going in Raw. All you got to do is click that subscribe button. We're still on the road to 201,102. We've sort of stuttered. We sort of did like we're taking a detour. We plateaued at around 737. So we'll see. Hopefully you guys can help us out with that by hitting that subscribe button.
Yeah, or less than 400 away from getting where we want to get by WrestleMania, hopefully. We're about a week away.
Nice. Yeah.
So help if you can, please. Hit that subscribe button, that notify bell.
Help
Also,
computer.
if you want to help, a cheap, free, easy way to help Going in Raw, specifically this video, is you hit that like button.
Oh, yeah. I already mentioned that one. Yeah, the big
Hit
old
that like
thumbs up. Let's talk about Kenneth Omega.
Yeah.
I believe that's his passport name. So Dave Meltzer
That would be incorrect, Steve.
has the latest on
Isn't it Kenneth by God Omega?
It's Kenneth Cleansing Omega. Kenny Omega's condition as he recuperates from diverticulitis. This is what Dave Meltzer has to say. While no decision has been made, it looks more likely than not that Kenny Omega will be getting surgery on his intestines. He's had his ups and downs, but has largely been dealing with a good amount of pain for months now. He said surgery is becoming more and more likely as 2 different doctors have told him they think it's the best option. It's not 100% that he'll have surgery, but it's looking more likely, particularly if he wants to get into condition to resume his career, that he'll probably have to get rid of the perforated sections of his intestine and colon. There's an obvious plan, and if and when he returns to come back into a feud with Kazuchika Okada, and because of the legendary status of those matches, that becomes a situation where he's going to want and need to get into top shape. End quote. Man, that sucks for Kenny in terms of being in pain for 2 months, man. That really sucks. I hope he's just putting, his health and well-being above everything else,
Yeah, indeed. And if he does have surgery, that's probably a tough recuperation. Mm-hmm. Because to recuperate just from the surgery and then get back into shape if he wants to resume his career, could be a little while.
Yeah. But our best goes out to Clean. Seems like a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Seems like a lovely guy. What do you think about his he's doing match ratings now.
I saw
on his Twitch, I think. We'll have to subscribe to we'll have to follow his Twitch.
Check out I wonder if someone's got a running log of all his star ratings. I know he gave Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, one of their matches, 4.5 stars. He says he's going to be he's not going to be doling out 5-star ratings all that easily. Yeah.
He says they should be very, very few and far between.
Which I agree.
Do you think has he reviewed any of his own matches? Can he?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
That'd be kind of weird to do. It's like go back and review my own whatever I've done in my life.
Yeah. 5 stars.
Review my basketball game yesterday,
Yeah, and then you just give it 5 stars.
Yeah. Everything I do is 5 stars, baby. Anyways, we got a SmackDown tonight before we answer some questions here. So we have a preview of that. First up, Jade Cargill is set to make her first appearance as SmackDown superstar. Larson, what should she do in her first appearance?
I'll skip ahead a little bit. Bianca Belair has a match against Dakota Kai. Of course, there's probably going to be a brawl that breaks out there with Damage Control. Bianca, Naomi's going to come to the ring. Jade comes to the ring to make the save. That should be part of her appearance during SmackDown.
How about this? To become familiar with the new settings of SmackDown that she's going to be, she takes us on a tour of like the concourse and the eatery section. Obviously, she probably follows an incredibly strict diet because
this is a segment booked exclusively for Steve.
I've never seen somebody in such good shape as Jade Cargill. She looks like she's from the future. She honestly looks like she could be one of them, like a Terminator, And so, but no, she's up there at the concourse, and she's like, "Hey, let's see, are the glizzies as advertised here?" Not like she's gonna go into glizzy overdrive, but she's like, for the lay people coming here with their tickets, I will do the research for you.
All right.
And she's like, "These glizzies up here are looking pretty good." and then, but on the concourse, they got all those monitors up so you can see what's going on. And then she's like, "Whoa, buddy, there's a whole brawl breaking out down there." And 2 people that I really respect, Naomi and Bianca Belair, are taking it against a couple of real no do-gooders. And so people are like, "What is that phrase?" Yeah. And then she's like, she has like 3 glizzies in each hand, and she's inspecting them for their quality as advertised. And then she's like, "Glizzy's got to wait."
Yeah, because a lot of places, a lot of venues that don't just have one hot dog offering.
Variety.
There's several.
Yeah. So she's going to be rating. She's like,
toppings
"Look, I can't just be dropping these 5-star glizzy ratings on any glizzy. Okay, I got to make sure that I'm doling these out with the proper criteria and respect."
Where is SmackDown emanating from tonight?
Hopefully Chicago. Well, it's not going to be Chicago.
No, it was Chicago.
Raw. Let me guess. Kansas City. St. Louis.
Connecticut.
Connecticut. That's a whole state.
Yeah.
Stanford?
The Mohegan Sun Arena in Yonkesville, Connecticut.
Yonkesville. Is that outside of like Hartford or something like that?
I'll check. Not California.
Next up, we got the Street Profits taking on A-Town Down Under. Oh, that's their name? That's funny.
Yeah.
For a chance to join the 6-pack ladder match at WrestleMania. Street Profits versus Waller and Theory. Who do you think takes that one, man?
If AOP doesn't get involved, then you got to think that Street Profits get the win. But there's a distinct possibility that Street Profits do get involved. So,
well, like you said last time, you got a ladder. You got to have Montez Ford there.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of my feelings on it. So, I guess the closest city is Norwich, Connecticut.
That's interesting. Well, it's Connecticut. People come from all over the place.
Yeah, it's not a very large state.
Yeah, right. How far away is it from like New York City?
There's Bristol. It's a ways because you got to go through New Haven.
Yeah. Also, Bianca Belair goes 1-on-1 with Dakota Kai. Who do you think wins that one?
That's going to have a wonk finish. But Bianca will probably win. But if not, I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of brawl.
I think Bianca wins, and then they do a brawl. Also, the New Catch Republic battle Legado del Fantasma to join the 6-pack ladder match at WrestleMania. New Catch Republic's got to win that one.
Oh, yeah. You'd think so.
And then we got Kevin Owens and Randy Orton look to silence the outspoken Pretty Deadly. Does that mean they're going to have all sorts of tag matches, huh?
Yeah, a lot of tag matches.
Well, WrestleMania is coming up.
It's like a New Japan Road 2 show.
It's a Road 2 show, exactly, yeah.
So Yonkesville, Connecticut is 128 miles from New York City. Right now, it'd take you 3 hours to get there.
Do they have like a high-speed rail system there?
You're asking.
Does anybody have a high-speed rail system, or are those just things of myth? Everybody always talks about high-speed rail system. You can get from L.A. to Las Vegas in 30 minutes.
Oh, it doesn't exist, Steve.
That doesn't exist yet, right?
Yeah, not in America.
That shit where it like breaks the sound barrier, like it's just a normal
that doesn't
thing.
exist.
Okay.
Not here.
Get to you go from L.A. to Las Vegas, and it's like you get there before you leave, and it's like, oh my god, goes faster
definitely
than
if
light.
you go from Vegas to L.A. with the time change.
There's a time
you
change.
can get there. You can arrive in L.A. when you left Vegas.
Right, exactly. It's crazy. FTL speed, man. Faster than light, baby. That's what you got to do. Anyways, would you like to answer some questions?
Yeah, let's answer some questions.
Breezy episode today.
Yeah, it's Friday. John Talks a Bit. It's a new name here, so I'll ask this question first. Says, with today being opening day for some Major League Baseball teams, are you excited about baseball, Steve?
I'm excited for people who are excited for baseball.
All right. Would you be interested in partaking some minor league baseball this year, especially on $2 hot dog night?
$2 Glizzy Day. Hey, can we please do a Glizzy Overdrive video for Friendo Club? I think that'd be amazing.
So essentially,
yeah,
we're
dude, I'm
gonna
down.
have a hot dog eating contest, you and I.
They can do like the Oakland A's versus the River Cats, team versus team.
John Talks a Bit here asks, who would you put on the roster for a WWE versus AEW baseball game? We're not going to do a full 9-man squad for each promotion. Anthony Bowens used to play baseball, so he's for sure on the AEW team.
Bring Braun out because he's a softball guy.
Yeah, softball dude, yeah.
Do you think that the softball that Braun's dad and Sid all played, is it like fast underhand or slow? Oh, really?
It's slow pitch, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
it's quite a difference trying to hit, like a softball being tossed at you maybe 35, 40 miles per hour versus 90 mile per hour plus fastballs.
Yeah, right.
Massive difference. Massive difference.
But like you've seen like in like girls softball, I think they do like the whoosh.
Yeah, the underhand, the fast pitch, yeah.
How fast do those balls go?
So I think they generally go
70, 60?
60, 70, but the mound is closer to home plate than it is in baseball. So probably your reaction time is probably pretty comparable. And the thing about fast pitch softball is depending on how they grip the ball, they can throw what's called a rise ball, which you can't do in baseball.
Oh.
Where the ball will start off on one plane and then actually go up.
Oh, wow.
And as far as I know, you can throw a baseball on the same plane or a curveball, so it dips, or a sweeper, which moves side to side. But I don't know if there's a pitch in baseball that actually consistently rises.
I watched that shit and my shoulder hurts.
That's better for your arm throwing it that way than overhand.
Than baseball? Okay,
yeah.
Well, that makes some sense, I guess, yeah.
It's completely unnatural motion to throw a baseball overhand. It's not good for
Carlos
That's
Diaz.
why so many pitchers are tearing their ligaments in their elbows, having to get Tommy John surgery.
Tommy John surgery, yeah, I know about that. Carlos Diaz says, now plenty of wrestlers promo in their native language. Regardless of whether or not people can understand them, would you split Damage Control now so Io and Asuka can have a SummerSlam singles feud super stiff? So I guess the premise is because Dakota is kind of like their, English translator, if you will. Would you do that? Fuck yeah, you do it. I don't know if you don't need to do it now. I'm just saying feuds with people who don't speak English natively, feuds between people who, can drop really effective promos with subtitles or body language even. I'm cool with that with both people. I don't give a shit. I think, a feud is a feud. Io and Asuka, they could just yell at each other in their native language and it'd be fucking awesome. We've seen that before and it has been awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty darn great. Alex Foster asked, you guys have said you don't think it's happening, but what would your thoughts be if Priest cashed in on Cody and won at the end of night 2? What a letdown. And that's no disrespect to Damian Priest. I like Damian Priest. I think he's been doing some good work. But if you take 2 years, year plus, to build the story of Cody finishing his story, basically 2 years, because he came back and he said, my goal here is to finish my story with the title. And Cody has that title in hand, when you have the fireworks and the confetti and the crowd's going crazy, and then have Damian Priest come cash in.
I'd pop huge. I think you're right, and I think it'd probably not be great, but I would pop so huge. Number one, I love Damian Priest. I think he's awesome.
Like him too. He's fantastic.
It's not like a Seth Rollins situation at Mania 31, obviously.
No.
Not even close to that. This is a destiny situation. I was just watching on Twitter. Somebody posted a clip of Shawn Michaels versus Austin at WrestleMania 14, and it was like a destiny moment. It was like, oh my goodness. And this is that. So Priest cashing in would completely pee all over that. And that being said, I love Damian Priest. And just for that moment and the absurdity of that moment, I would pop big. Big pop from Steve.
Huge pop.
Huge pop.
We got a lot of new names here on Patreon today. Polar says, with the flurry of recent signings in WWE and AEW, is there a point where there's too many cooks in the kitchen or too many wrestlers signed on for a show? Is there a possibility of having a roster too large?
Yeah, I think so. If you don't know how to manage it. Like, let's be honest. In WWE, how many people can you think of that aren't being used, period, point blank?
Yeah.
Plenty of people like have gone down to NXT and, you know, like Baron Corbin, others. But there's not a lot of people who just simply aren't being used. Like R-Truth was gone for a long time. He wasn't being used for a long time. Eventually, now he's like one of the most popular guys they got. Authors of Pain sat around for a year. Eventually, they found something for them. It took them time, but they wanted to make sure there was something good for them. At this point, I don't think there's a lot of people who are just sort of sitting on the bench doing a whole lot of nothing. So if you have stuff for people to do, then you're good to go. If your roster is really, really big and there's tons of people simply not being used, which throughout various times, definitely in WWE of the past, in Vince's era, and I feel like there's been sort of phases of AEW where that's sort of been the case too. But then oftentimes, you know, that's like, oh, well, there's visa issues. Like right now, I just saw a thing from Fightful. Jay White's out because of visa issues. But yeah, it's totally possible to have a roster that's too big if you're not using people. People want to be utilized.
And so the problem isn't so much the size of the roster, it's the utilization of the roster.
Right,
and I
exactly.
guess there's a chance that if the roster's so large that it's just like impossible with the hours of TV you have to sufficiently utilize your talent, and that's an issue. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a number per se that would be the case.
Yeah.
You know, if you have like, say AEW had 200 people on the roster but only had 2 hours of TV, yeah, I mean, unless you faction up with 10-member factions across the board, you're going to have an issue of not getting people on TV on a regular basis, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a new name. Jimmy O'Rizzle says, who would you book Braun Strowman's return against? The thought of Braun Strowman versus Braun Breaker, it makes me moist. That's what his words right here.
That'd be a good win for Braun Breaker if he beat Braun Strowman.
Okay.
That'd be, I mean, that's a good feud for Braun Breaker.
Braun Strowman's return. Oh, you know what? Hey, do this. Oh, this is probably terrible. Cody wins at WrestleMania. On this next SmackDown, he's doing his big Cody Mania thing, and he's doing his big, I won finally. I finished my story. My dad and Mama Rhodes. Oh, I'm crying. Braun, I'm not finished with you yet. And he's like, me? What'd I do?
We've never crossed paths before, Braun. Here's the thing. That would be fine if they went back to Braun in 2017 where he just destroyed stuff and did cool stuff.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Then that would work.
It's like the Terminator franchise. They retcon every sequel so that it didn't happen. Only 1 and 2 happened.
Mm-hmm. So they take that approach with Braun, then sure, why not?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Lux here says, do you think other talent from Jericho's time would be thought of the same way that Jericho is now had they not retired to become special occasion talent? Feels like the key to maintaining your reputation in wrestling is knowing when to step back and let the industry move beyond you. That's part of it. It's moving with the times, but also knowing when to step aside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one thing that it's difficult, especially the longer someone's been in the business, to stay relevant. And you can try to change with the times best you can, but at a certain point, stepping away is not a terrible idea.
No, I agree. I think that you just need to know how, like, you got to know when to be around and when to not be around. You got to make yourself a special occasion, Joe the Meme Maker says, if the Cope Open was like the John Cena U.S. Open Challenge, what lesser known names such as Ring of Honor guys should get a chance to shine?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's sort of predicated on the idea that I watch Ring of Honor.
But some Ring of Honor talent. Gringo
Zach
Loco.
Clayton. Oh, Gringo Loco's a great name. Is he in Ring of Honor now?
I don't know if he's consistently in Ring of Honor, but he's been on Ring of Honor before.
Wow. I might have to start watching Ring of Honor. This is a great question from Norto. Who's the most boring wrestler at the moment for both of you? Let's take Jericho out of it. Jericho's not even boring to me. He's like just unintentionally hilarious. Hook. It's so great that you have a pin victory over me. I'm so glad that you've done that, Hook. And I see that you could be a world champion with me, Chris Jericho, in your side, Hook.
So the last time Gringo Loco wrestled the Ring of Honor was just about a month ago.
Oh, okay. This is why we need like a producer. We need like a stat guy. Because then we got a new question and you're just busy doing stat guy stuff.
Most boring wrestler other than Jericho?
Yep. I think I know mine. I hate saying this, but I'm going to because I've seen him be I've appreciated his work before. But ever since he got called the main roster, I've been like, God, I do not see it in this guy. And it's sad because he is the heir to the tribal chief. Solo Sikoa.
Solo.
He's just a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
He's a lot of nothing, man.
Yeah, there was, that stretch where they seem like they're giving him some dimension where Roman would do something and Solo look at him. It's like, what are you doing, you fool?
That's all gone.
And it's all gone.
That's gone, man. That's
gone.
Solo's
a good answer. So most of the names I can think of are not necessarily performers who are boring, but don't really feel like they're doing anything interesting. And that's not necessarily synonymous, Like, I don't think AJ Styles is boring. I don't find what he's doing now terribly interesting.
Neither do I. He's best when he's just himself.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw this name out there. And it's so bad because I really, really like the guy. And I think he could be doing cooler stuff. Well, he's got a cool faction. And I like everything about him. It's like you used to say kind of with Sanity. What's the mission statement? What is the point of it? I'm talking about Karrion Kross and his dudes.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point? And it's like he kind of had one like everybody he goes through, he changes. But the question is, why?
Why? That's
why do
the
you
question
do that?
Needs to be answered. I agree with that.
I really love him, though. I think he's great. I think if they gave him like a little bit more dimension, like a lot, honestly, some of the sense of humor we've seen from him on social media. He seems like a really cool guy, like a really well-rounded guy. Him and Scarlett, they've got real world chemistry.
Did you see that video I think he put up yesterday where he puts a baseball bat in like a knee bar or something and breaks it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's crazy.
And Scarlett's reaction was hilarious. She was like, "Oh my God." He was like, "I'm okay." It was really cute.
It was.
I want to see some of that.
Yeah.
Let's see some of that.
Agreed. Good
looking couple. My goodness.
Yeah.
Mac O'Mac says, what is your most underrated WrestleMania of all time?
I mean, how esteemed is WrestleMania 31 in the eyes of fans?
I was about to say that. I don't know because it came right after 30, which everybody says, "Oh, this is like one of the best."
Yeah, it's a good show.
31 is also we were there, but man, what a fun show that was.
It was a fun show.
So yeah, I'd probably go with that one because I don't know with the other ones, The first one's not very good. I just watched that.
No, most of the early ones are not good.
They're not very good. Yeah.
No, they're not. Yeah, that'd be my answer. WrestleMania 31, but
There you go. Yeah, because like once you get into the 20s, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
It's like from
really wasn't watching
22 until like 26, those 4 or 5 years or whatever.
yeah, no.
I don't know.
Really
I don't even
wasn't
know what
watching
happened. It's like a lot of Edge, Undertaker. I think there was a Floyd
Yeah.
Mayweather in there. I think there was a Trump in there.
Against Big Show, yeah.
Right. There was like a bunch of weird just shit. I'm like, I have no interest in any of this stuff whatsoever. There's probably some Mr. Kennedy in there. Lots of Cena, Orton, JBL probably.
Yeah, you got it all right. You got it all
I'm
right.
like, I have to. When Undertaker was like considered, oh, this is our top guy right now. No, I'm good with that.
Blake Whitehouse asks, how many months after his main roster debut should it take for Obafemi to win a world title?
Oh, man. I don't know. I haven't seen the guy wrestle all that much. I really like him. He's got an amazing look, good size.
Presence is fantastic. Got tons of charisma.
The presence is great. I don't know, man. You know, I've got this thing about everybody in NXT. I don't feel... and this is a personal thing. It's totally just a me thing, I think. Ever since 2.0, I have such a hard time seeing anybody from 2.0 or from NXT as like main roster, boom, you guys are good to go in like a main event capacity. Back in the day, it was like Kevin Owens. He came from, Ring of Honor and Independence and stuff. And he showed up in NXT. And then as soon as he came up to main roster with John Cena, it was like, oh, this guy is a main event guy right now.
Yeah.
Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, even to a degree, felt like main roster now guys. When you were an NXT guy, even Aleister Black, Adam Cole, when they did their thing in 2019, Keith Lee, main roster, main event guys. If you were the best in NXT, then you could main event on main roster.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about anybody in NXT.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like, I hope Obafemi does really cool shit in NXT. I'm gonna watch Stand and Deliver.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just got to see him in there with main roster people to see what is, how is he going to come off? How is he going to look?
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that.
If he does cool shit, cool. Like Braun Breaker doesn't seem like a main event guy.
I wonder if part of it is the presentation of NXT where they're in that small venue. If they were, I know they have quarterly, basically their premium live events, maybe even 6 a year.
Mm-hmm.
If they were somewhat more consistently having shows outside the Performance Center and larger venues and start in front of larger audiences. I mean, because presentation is so much of pro wrestling.
You know what some of it is, dude? Because I agree with you, but then when you look at NXT Black and Gold's presentation, it was a small ass venue too.
It was larger in the PC, but I get the point. Yeah.
I think
it could be partially presentation. It could be partially because in NXT from 2014 to 2019, pretty much 2020, it was so many people who had already established their brand on the independents or in Ring of Honor.
That's it.
That were pretty much coming to NXT for a year to learn the WWE way before moving on to main roster.
They were all like at the same age and experience level as the main eventers in WWE.
I will say this, to interrupt real quick. When Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt wasn't wasn't on the independents for years wrestling.
Right.
When he showed up in the main roster, he felt like a main event guy because what he was doing was so different, so unique. His presence, his aura was so immense.
I also have this thing like NXT to a degree for me, and I think this goes with the presentation aspect of it, is when you have like back when Bray Wyatt, and I know, okay, so NXT, I can't say that because NXT did have, the Black and Gold did have their fair share of goofy shit.
Mm-hmm.
NXT's got a little bit more of that, I feel like these days.
Yeah.
Like you've got Chase University, you've got, I love Dijak. You know that. You love Dijak.
Yeah, he's great.
I don't know really what he's supposed to be. Like
it feels like it started out as that, but I feel like it's kind of turned into
something else,
an amalgam of who Dijak really is. And that,
yeah, right. I just feel like there's too much, like, I don't know, man, like sort of tongue in cheek, like Brooks and Jensen, you know that, and I know he's like or Briggs and Jensen, and I know Briggs is on his own now, but like the over the top, like, oh, we're country guys, you know, that kind of shit, and it's like it feels so much different, and like Bray Wyatt was a menace, and everything about his packaging. Like all the vignettes they'd filmed, that shit looked like movies. It looked like it looked like True Detective.
Yeah.
And so when he came up, it was like, oh my God, there's this new thing infiltrating. And it felt real. It felt main event. And it's like Joe Gacy's kind of like the closest thing they have to that. And he's kind of a goofball, you know?
Yeah.
It just doesn't like, that's sort of, they were trying to do that with Schism. And now I don't know what they're doing with Gacy. But
I don't know either. He was feuding with Dijak for a bit.
I think he's feuding with like Spears now.
Maybe. Last I saw, Gacy was doing something on the roof of the Performance Center.
Yeah, I think you're right. Last time I saw him, Dijak had him locked in a room.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. There's just something that is lightweight in gravitas about NXT that NXT back in the day, these are a bunch of grizzled old bastards ready to come up to main roster and fuck people up. And that ain't it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday with our SmackDown review and weekend wrap up. Roundup.
Collision this weekend too, Steve.
Oh joy. What's advertised for Collision, you know?
Cope Open.
Copen. The Adam Copen. Right on. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time. Oh, he's right there. Now he's wrapping us up. We're only 51 minutes and 30 seconds deep. And he's like, dude, I know it's Friday. It's Friday. Hilton, know your role.
How much longer are we going to persist with this?
You don't want me to fire Hilton, do you? That'd be rude.
He's not there. You're not firing anybody. You going to fire your wall, your fan?
He's in the wall.